Hi YouTube, this is Shelby again. There was one area of my pre-IVF workup that I didn't talk about because I forgot. Maybe I was trying to forget it completely, but they kind of want to do like a complete physical on you, just the female especially, just to see what your basic level of health is. And one of the things that they wanted me to do was they wanted me to do a mammogram. I'm only 32, but there is a history of breast cancer in my family. My mother had it and she passed away from metastasized cancer. And basically every doctor I've ever been to has always said like, oh, you should start doing your mammograms really early, like now. And I've always pretty much avoided it because I didn't want to know that, you know, it's just a touchy subject for me and everything. But for this workup, I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. I don't want it to get in the way of me being able to do an IVF cycle with my husband and everything. So we go and we do the I went, my husband didn't go, the mammogram, and I did the digital mammogram. So I mean that part, like everyone always says, it feels like, you know, you take your boob on the cement outside and you let someone run over it in a car, and then you turn the other way and let them run over it again. It wasn't really that bad. Like I can't even say it was painful. I mean, it was uncomfortable, but I mean, it didn't hurt. But they of course find a lump. And so that was a bad week. It was, you know, one of those worst fear things, especially having watched my mother go through it. But so they find the lump one week, and then they schedule me for an ultrasound because they wanted to get a better look at it, to you know, to try to better define it and diagnose it and everything. So I went back in a couple of days later, and they did like just a regular ultrasound on it. Well, the radiologist, when he looks at it, he said because of the way it looked, he was 95% sure that it was non-cancerous, that women in their 30s, they get like cysts, and because of the way, you know, it was wider than taller or something, I forget, or taller than wider, one of those, and it was completely encapsulated, that it didn't look cancerous. But because of my family history, the only way to know for sure that it wasn't cancerous is to do a biopsy. So at that point, it was getting too late in the month, and we were going to just like rush right in and do the first IVF cycle that we could, because it was just, we were able to, so like why not? So at that point it threw us off of that IVF cycle. Like we should have been going through the actual transfer like right now in September, and this of course was back in July. So it delayed, not knowing the final result on these tests delayed my being able to do like an actual IVF cycle. So I was upset about that, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But so they scheduled my biopsy, and it's a needle biopsy guided by ultrasound. So, and I don't know, even being a nurse, like I totally wasn't expecting what happened during a biopsy. Like no one ever really tells you. I guess maybe I never realized, having been on the other side of the needles and stuff, how little medical procedures are explained. But, you know, they numb like the whole area, and then they go, like the lump that was in my breast is actually on the inside, and they went from the other side of my breast with the needle, which I thought was unnecessary. But it actually took a really long time, and it was pretty dang painful. Like I really didn't expect it to hurt that much, and the doctor kept telling me like, oh, just let me know when it hurts and I'll give you more lidocaine. But that was just not fun at all. But so they did the biopsy, and of course it came back negative. It wasn't cancerous. I wouldn't be sitting here and make a video about it if it was, or maybe I would. It would just be a different type of video. So yeah, but it did throw off my ability to do like a IVF cycle right away, which now that I'm at the beginning of September, is actually a very good thing, because I wouldn't have been able to do the transfer right now and do all of the medical appointments because of my work schedule, because it changed, as I had said in another video, because I'm working the floor again, and I wouldn't have been able to get away to do all those appointments. And also it's was good financially because like the reason that we had decided to do a cycle right away was just an emotional response. Like, wow, we've been waiting for almost 3 years now to start a family. Let's just jump in and do this cycle now. And, you know, maybe we'll be pregnant and have a baby really quickly. But now that we were forced to wait, like we can look at it better financially and save more money and be more prepared. So, I mean, those are all good things that came out of it, even though going through that stress, I wouldn't wish on anyone. But that is one thing that kind of was a side note to the IVF workup. Because, I mean, no one really thinks about, you're like, oh, you go in for workup to try to have a baby, have a family with your husband. And then all of a sudden I started researching a different kind of doctor. You know, I was like, so who's the best oncologist around here? You know, it was just not something I even thought would happen going in for a fertility workup, is to end up with having to go through a needle biopsy for a breast lump. So that was something I totally didn't expect. But it turned out okay, you know, and hey, now I know that one thing that I had always feared and avoided is now over. Like, they still want me to, because of my familial history, they want me to do a mammogram like every year. But I know for now that I'm okay. So it's good. So yeah, that was a little side note to my IVF workup. And I hope you guys are having a good day, and happy Labor Day. Bye.